likes cold weather. When temperatures in its mountain habitat drop below freezing, the macaque lounges in natural hot springs. It's not water in a camel's hump. The fat stored in a camel's hump allows the animal to trek across the desert for up to a month without food. Pigs, light-colored horses, and walruses can get sunburned. Measuring up to 110 feet long and weighing up to 419,000 pounds, the blue whale is the largest mammal and animal on Earth. Most elephants weigh less than the tongue of a blue whale. Just as humans favor their right or left hand, elephants favor their right or left tusk. The echidna is a spiny anteater that can grow to 3 feet long, which is about a meter if you're not American. The echidna and the platypus are the only egg-laying mammals. The platypus is also one of the few venomous mammals. The male platypus has a spur on his hind feet that can deliver venom. The pangolin is the only mammal with scales. It has no teeth and uses its powerful claws to tear open termite and ant mounds. The African honey badger's tough hide can resist penetration and most poisons. A great help when the badger's dinner includes puff adders or beehive honey. Hedgehogs have 3,000 to 5,000 quills on their backs. A mature ewe yields 7 to 10 pounds of shorn wool per year. The sleepiest mammals are armadillos, sloths, and opossums. They spend 80% of their lives dozing. The 9-banded armadillo is the only mammal known to always give birth to 4 identical young. The tallest mammals are giraffes, towering up to 20 feet tall. A giraffe can clean its ears with its 21-inch-long tongue. The dark purple color of a giraffe's tongue protects it from getting sunburned. Both male and female caribou grow antlers, the only deer species to do so. The red deer in Scotland kill seabird chicks and gnaw the bones to get nutrients otherwise unavailable on the island of Rum. Rhinoceroses are odd-toed hoofed mammals with 3 toes on each foot. Horses and zebras have only 1 toe on each foot. Even-toed hoofed mammals include pigs, deer, cattle, antelopes, giraffes, camels, and hippopotamuses. The hippopotamus can open its mouth up to 3.3 feet wide, wider than any other land mammal. Hippos can run at speeds of up to 20 miles per hour. The rabbit-sized mouse deer of Asia has long upper incisors that make it look like a vampire. But these timid creatures quickly flee when they encounter people. Koalas are not bears. Koalas are marsupials, which means they raise their young in special pouches. Eucalyptus leaves are poisonous to most animals, but koalas have special bacteria in their stomachs that break down dangerous oils in the leaves. A koala gets almost all the liquid it needs from licking dew off tree leaves. Some kangaroos can jump 5 times their body length in one jump. Tiny shrews, sometimes only a few inches long, can suspension bridge is painted a reddish orange, not gold. The bright color is called International Orange. During the construction of the Golden Gate Bridge, 11 workers fell from the bridge and died, though a safety net saved the lives of 19 others. The Charles Bridge, which spans the Vltava River in Prague, Czech Republic, dates from 1357. It's lined with statues and has towers with gates at each end. The nearly 5-mile-long Mackinac Bridge links Michigan's upper and lower peninsulas. The world's longest cable suspension bridge is located in Turkey. It spans the Dardanelles Strait. The main span of the Akashi Kaikyo Bridge is 6,532 feet, or 1.24 miles long in Japan. The Brooklyn Bridge, designed by architect John Augustus Roebling, towers over New York City's East River. It opened on May 24th, 1883, linking what would become the boroughs of Brooklyn and Manhattan in New York City. In its day, the Brooklyn Bridge was the longest suspension bridge in the world, with the main span measuring 1,595 feet long. The New River Gorge Bridge is one of the most photographed places in West Virginia. The bridge in the Appalachian Mountains is one of the highest bridges open to vehicles in the world. The world's longest steel truss arch bridge is the Chongqing Chaotianmen Bridge over the Yangtze River in China. The main span is 1,811 feet long. Alright, I hope you are interested in bridges, because that was a lot of bridge facts. Okay, the next category is history, and this is military history facts. Military history. The oldest military medal is probably the Gold of Valor. It was awarded by the Egyptian pharaohs around 1500 BC. The 100 Years' War lasted 116 years. During his invasion of England in 1014, King Olaf's Viking ships managed to pull down London's wooden Thames River Bridge, hence the songs "London Bridge is Falling Down." The longest-running mercenary contract belongs to the world's smallest standing army, the Vatican's Swiss Guards, a 100-man company first hired by Pope Julius II in 1506. Sailing into space, pieces of Germany's high seas fleet scuttled off Scotland at the end of World War I have been used to build deep space probes. What's with General George Patton's ivory-handled revolvers? He started carrying revolvers in 1916 after he nearly blew his own leg off with the Army's newfangled automatic pistol. The U.S. Marines' first land battle on foreign soil was in Derna, Libya in 1805. During this battle, 600 Marines stormed the city to rescue the crew of the USS Philadelphia from pirates. In 1940, Brigadier General Benjamin Oliver Davis became the first African-American general in the U.S. Armed Forces. Britain's early 20th century superweapon, the battleship HMS Dreadnought, was fitted with ultra-modern weapons, so her builders naturally omitted the ancient ram from France was the first country to cultivate mushrooms in the mid-17th century. From there, the practice spread to England and made its way to the United States in the 19th century. In 1891, New Yorker William Falconer published Mushrooms, How to Grow Them, a practical treatise on mushroom culture for profit and pleasure, the first book on the subject. In North America alone, there are an estimated 10,000 species of mushroom, only 250 of which are known to be edible. A mushroom is a fungus, from the Greek word spongos, meaning sponge. A fungus differs from a plant in that it has no chlorophyll, produces spores instead of seeds, and survives by feeding off other organic matter. Mushrooms are related to yeast, mold, and mildew, which are also members of the fungus class. There are approximately 1.5 million species of fungi compared with 250,000 species of flowering plants. An expert in mushrooms and other fungi is called a mycologist, from the Greek word mykes, meaning fungus. A mycophile is a person whose hobby is to hunt edible wild mushrooms. Ancient Egyptians believed mushrooms were the plant of immortality. Pharaohs decreed them a royal food and forbade commoners to even touch them. White agaricus mushrooms are by far the most popular, accounting for more than 90% of mushrooms bought in the United States each year. Those are the little button mushrooms. Brown agaricus mushrooms include cremini and portobellos, though they're really the same thing. Portobellos are just mature cremini. Cultivated mushrooms are agaricus mushrooms grown on farms. Exotics are any farmed mushroom other than agaricus. Think shiitake, maitake, or oyster. Wild mushrooms are harvested wherever they grow naturally, in forests, near riverbanks, even in your backyard. Many edible mushrooms have poisonous lookalikes in the wild. For example, the dangerous yellow stainer closely resembles the popular white agaricus mushroom. Toadstool is the term often used to refer to poisonous fungi. In the wild, mushroom spores are spread by wind. On mushroom farms, spores are collected in a laboratory and then used to inoculate grains to create spawn, a mushroom farmer's equivalent of seeds. A mature mushroom will drop as many as 16 billion spores. Mushroom spores are so tiny that 2,500 arranged end to end would measure only an inch tennis from handball, a racket evolved within these French monasteries. Rackets had been used before that in ancient Greece in a game called, Spheristique, and then in Shikan, played in Persia. Henry VII popularized the game in England. In 1529, Henry VII built a tennis court on the grounds of his Hampton Court palace. It was rebuilt in 1625 and is now the oldest tennis court in existence. 30 cases of golf clubs and tennis rackets for A.G. Spaulding's Sporting Goods Company were being shipped by transatlantic mail on the Titanic when it sank. That wasn't the only Titanic tennis tie, known for his victories as a singles and doubles tennis player at the U.S. Open and Wimbledon during the 1910s and 20s. R. Norris Williams also gained fame as a survivor of the Titanic disaster. 6 competitors from 4 nations participated in the women's singles event at the 1900 Olympics, the second in the modern era. Wow. The first female Olympic champion was Charlotte Cooper of Great Britain, who won the tennis singles and the mixed doubles. For his habit of indulging temper tantrums, John McEnroe was once dubbed by the New York Times the worst advertisement for our system of values since Al Capone. In 1995, tennis player Jeff Tarengo disagreed vehemently with the chair umpire. His wife Benedictine came onto court and slapped the official. The two then stormed off the court. Drama in tennis is nothing new. While playing a game of tennis in 1606, the artist Caravaggio and his young opponent got into an argument. Caravaggio stabbed and killed his opponent and immediately had to flee Rome. Catgut, the name of the product which tennis racket strings are made of, is made from the intestines of mostly livestock animals, but not cats. Ew. In 2002, Sports Illustrated ran a profile of a 17-year-old from Uzbekistan, Simonia Popova. She was everything a rising tennis star would want to be, except for the fact that she didn't exist. The article was a spoof. Between 1927 and 1932, 4 French tennis players who were dubbed the Four Musketeers won 6 consecutive Davis Cups, as well as numerous Wimbledon and French championships. In 1973, Billie Jean King defeated Bobby Riggs in 3 straight sets in a tennis match billed as the Battle of the Sexes. Sir Elton John wrote a song for Billie Jean King titled Philadelphia Freedom that was released in 1975. According to most tennis historians, modern tennis dates back to the early 1870s, when the delightfully named Major Walter Clopton Wingfield devised a lawn game for the entertainment of party guests on his English country estate. Wingfield, whose bust graces the Wimbledon Tennis Museum, based his game on an older form of tennis that long had been popular in France Gibson won Wimbledon, the first African American player to do so. Okay. Next. I hope you can't really hear the yard work going on. It's really in the distance, but I hear like a leaf blower or lawnmower or something. I hope you can't hear it. Okay. Next is health and the human body, and this set of facts is about bones. I like bones. An adult has fewer bones than a baby. We start off life with 350 bones, but because bones fuse together during growth, we end up with only 206 as adults. People stop growing taller when the growth plates at the ends of their bones fuse. This tends to happen around 14 or 15 for girls and is tied to the age at which they begin menstruation. Most boys reach their full height around age 16 to 18, but it can occur later. While bones stop growing, bone cells regenerate. More than a quarter of your bones are found in your hands and wrists, 27 bones in each. Another quarter of your bones are located in your feet, 26 in each foot. The largest bone of your foot, the heel bone, is called calcaneus. A child's bone heals more rapidly from a break than an adult's bone. The hyoid bone in your throat isn't connected to a joint, unlike any other bone. The femur is the longest, strongest, and largest bone in the body. The tibia is named for its resemblance to a Latin pipe called a tibia. The radius is named after its resemblance to the spoke of a wheel. The fibula is named for its resemblance to a clasp in a brooch. Your phalanges, or finger bones, are tied linguistically to the term phalanx, referring to an army formation. Phalanges always makes me think of Friends. Regina Phalange. The enamel on your teeth is stronger than your bones. Your big toe is known as the hallux. Okay, I think I'm going to do another health and human body one because it's interesting. So we're going to do digestive system facts as well. In a lifetime, the average person produces about 25,000 quarts of saliva, enough to fill 2 swimming pools. You get a new stomach lining every 3 to 4 days. If you didn't, the strong acids your stomach uses to digest food would also digest your stomach. Your stomach secretes about half a gallon of hydrochloric acid each day. When you eat a meal, it takes anywhere from 2 to 5 days for it to work its way through your system. The bulk of that time is spent in the large intestine. Doctors can track how long it takes for food to make its way through your system and where it might be getting stuck with a bowel transit time test in which you swallow a pill with a wireless transmitter. Different foods are digested at different rates. Your body processes carbohydrates more quickly than proteins or fats, so fattier foods like meat take longer to digest than fruits and vegetables. That means if you want to feel full for longer, a snack with a little bit of fat, like cheese and crackers rather than just crackers, will help tide you over till dinner. Some people naturally have more of the enzyme that helps you digest beans and other gassy vegetables. Because the digestive system uses muscles, not gravity, to do its work, you could technically eat upside down. In the 1820s, a fur trapper named Alexis St. Martin was accidentally shot and left with a hole in his side that meant his doctor, William Beaumont, could perform experiments to learn about stomachs and the digestive system. Beaumont conducted experiments for a decade, treating St. Martin as a servant during that time, before St. Martin left the area and refused to return. Each day, a healthy individual releases a minimum of 17 ounces of gas due to flatulence. Most gas is composed of odorless hydrogen, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide. In some humans, about 30% of the adult population, the digestive process also produces methane. Interesting. Okay, next is our space category, and today we have facts about Venus. Aside from Earth's moon, Venus is the brightest object in Earth's night sky. It is depicted in Van Gogh's famous painting, The Starry Night. The Greeks thought Venus was two objects, a morning star and an evening one, named Phosphoros and Hesperos. Its buttery cloud cover is mostly carbon dioxide mixed with sulfur dioxide. Atmospheric pressure at the surface is equal to being half a mile below Earth's seas. The surface temperature can reach 900 degrees Fahrenheit. In 1962, Mariner 2 flew by Venus and scanned it. It was the first exploration of another planet. The Soviet Union sent a number of probes beginning in the 1960s. Venera 3, which crash-landed in 1966, was the first spacecraft to land on the surface of another planet. Several later Soviet probes did land on the planet and transmit information back. Venus spins in the opposite direction as Earth. A complete rotation, a day on Venus, takes 243 Earth days. Imagine the sun setting every 243 days. Venus's orbit around the sun is a nearly perfect circle. Venus is highly volcanic, and volcanism shaped its surface. Many of the more than 1,600 volcanoes are now dormant or extinct. Evidence suggests that some features may still be volcanically active. Venus has a weaker magnetic field than Earth. Venus might have once had oceans on its surface before the sun's radiation and Venus's atmosphere caused them to West Orange, New Jersey, was the first film studio, completed in 1893. Edison made short vaudeville act films there. The oldest continuously operating cinema theater is the State Theater in Washington, Iowa, which opened on May 14th, 1897. The first feature-length film was an Australian western titled The Story of the Kelly Gang from 1906. This tale of Australia's most famous bandit, Ned Kelly, was reportedly about an hour long. The first film ever made in Hollywood was D.W. Griffith's 1910 In Old California. In Old California was a biograph melodrama about a Spanish maiden, Marian Leonard, who has an illegitimate son with a man who later became governor of California. The first movie to be filmed in Technicolor was Becky Sharp in 1934. The first building designed specifically to show movies was the Nickelodeon in Pittsburgh. It opened in June 1905 and showed 3 or 4 one-reel films continuously throughout the day. Within 3 years, thousands of similar operations called Nickelodeons had opened around the country. Contrary to popular belief, The Jazz Singer in 1927 was not the first film with sync sound. Sync sound aligns the picture and the soundtrack so that an action and its corresponding sound coincide. The first feature-length film with sync sound was Don Juan in 1926. Movies hit the friendly skies for the first time in 1925. That's when a British Imperial Airways flight screened The Lost World for passengers. One pair of ruby slippers worn by actress Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz are on display at the National Museum of American History. The 3 lead actors in Rebel Without a Cause all met an untimely death. James Dean died in a car crash, Natalie Wood drowned, and Sal Mineo was stabbed to death. Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho was the first American film to show a toilet being flushed on screen. Julie Andrew learned how to play the guitar for The Sound of Music. The now ubiquitous F word was first uttered in a film in 1968 in I'll Never Forget What's His Name. Actress Marianne Faithfull shocked audiences when she spoke the 4-letter word. For comparison, Casino in 1995 reputedly had nearly 400 uses of it, but who's counting? The scream of horror you hear in The Godfather when Jack Woltz discovers the severed horse head in bed is real. Actor John Marley, who played Jack Woltz, was not told in advance that the horse head would be real. You won't find his name in the credits, but George Lucas worked on a montage of crime scene photos and newspaper headlines for The Godfather. The beach on fictitious Amity Island, where sunbathers and waiters got a scare in the 1975 film Jaws, is actually Joseph A. Sylvia State Beach on Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts. The mechanical shark used in Jaws was nicknamed Bruce. R2-D2 of Star Wars fame was sometimes operated by remote control and other times by an actor who would crouch inside and move the droid. Francis Ford Coppola shot his 1979 war epic Apocalypse Now in the Philippines instead of Vietnam. The Philippine government allowed Coppola to extraterrestrial was originally intended for the horror genre. The original title for Ghostbusters was Ghost Smashers. O.J. Simpson was considered for the lead in 1984's The Terminator. Producers passed on Simpson because they thought he was too nice and innocent to be believable playing a cyborg killer. Oh, that's funny. It took a group of over 120 people 3 years to complete the stop-motion animated musical The Nightmare Before Christmas. For 1 second of film, up to 12 stop-motion moves had to be made. Some of the dinosaur sounds in Jurassic Park were actually tortoises mating. The first feature film created solely with computer-generated imagery was Toy Story in 1995. Titanic in 1997 came out when theaters still showed movies from film reels. Due to the popular film's long theatrical run, Paramount had to send replacement reels to theaters that actually literally wore theirs out. The first movie to gross over $2 billion was James Cameron's Avatar. During one of Leonardo DiCaprio's big scenes in Django Unchained, he really did cut his hand on broken glass and began to bleed. He stayed in character and continued the scene. Director Quentin Tarantino was so impressed that he used this take in the final film. The largest film stunt explosion was achieved during filming for Bond movie Spectre in June 2015. The explosion was the result of detonating 2,224 gallons of kerosene with 73 pounds of powder explosives and lasted for over 7.5 seconds. I must have either talked really fast or didn't have enough facts planned for today because I finished them and I want this video to be longer, so we're gonna go back to the food category and do facts about popcorn. Popcorn's scientific name is Z-maize everta. It is the only type of corn that will pop. People have been enjoying popcorn for thousands of years. The first evidence of popcorn has been radiocarbon dated at 6,700 years old, based on macrofossil cobs unearthed between 2007 and 2011 at archaeological sites on the northern coast of Peru. It is believed that Wampanoag, American Indian tribe, brought popcorn to the Pilgrims for the first Thanksgiving in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Traditionally, American Indian tribes flavored popcorn with dried herbs and spices, possibly even chili. They also made popcorn into soup and beer and made popcorn headdresses and corsages. Some American Indian tribes believed that a spirit lived inside each kernel of popcorn. The spirits wouldn't usually bother humans, but if their home was heated, they would jump around, getting angrier and angrier, until eventually they would burst out with a pop. Christopher Columbus allegedly introduced popcorn to the Europeans in the late 15th century. Charles Cretors invented the first commercial popcorn machine in Chicago in 1885. The business he founded still manufactures popcorn machines and other specialty equipment. American vendors began selling popcorn at carnivals in the late 19th century. Movie theater owners initially feared that popcorn would distract their patrons. It took a few years for them to realize that popcorn could be a way to increase revenues, and popcorn has been served in movie theaters since 1912. not water permeable, so the steam cannot escape and pressure builds up until the kernel finally explodes, turning inside out. That's cool. On average, a kernel will pop when it reaches a temperature of 347 degrees Fahrenheit or 175 Celsius. Unpopped kernels are called old maids or spinsters. There are two possible explanations for old maids. The first is that they didn't contain sufficient moisture to create an explosion. The second is that their outer coating, the hull, was damaged so that steam escaped gradually rather than with a pop. Good popcorn should produce less than 2% old maids. Ideally, the moisture content of popcorn should be around 13.5%, as this results in the fewest old maids. Popcorn is naturally high in fiber, low in calories and sodium, sugar, and fat-free, although oil is often added during preparation and butter, sugar, and salt are popular toppings. Americans consume 17 billion quarts of popped popcorn each year. That's enough to fill the Empire State Building 18 times. Nebraska produces more popcorn than any other state in the country, around 250 million pounds per year. That's about a quarter of all the popcorn produced annually in the United States. The employees at the popcorn factory in Lake Forest, Illinois, made a 3,423-pound popcorn ball in 2006. It was the world's largest popcorn ball at the time, and you can visit it at Sac City, Iowa. Built in 2016, the popcorn ball weighs 9,370 pounds and stands taller than 8 feet. There are at least 5 contenders claiming to be the popcorn capital of the world due to the importance of popcorn to their local economies. Van Buren, Indiana, Marion, Ohio, Ridgeway, Illinois, Schaller, Iowa, and North Loop, Nebraska. I can see why they're all trying to claim it because I've never heard of any of those cities. Popped popcorn comes in 2 basic shapes, snowflake and mushroom. Movie theaters prefer snowflake because it's bigger. Confections such as caramel corn use mushroom because it won't crumble. In 1948, ears of popcorn, the variety of corn grown for this particular purpose, were discovered in the Bat Cave in New Mexico. They were around 5,600 years old. Aztec Indians of the 16th century used garlands of popped maize as a decoration in ceremonial dances. They were a symbol of goodwill and peace. Colonial women poured sugar and cream on popcorn and served it for breakfast, literally the first puffed cereal. Some colonists popped corn in a type of cage that revolved on an axle and was positioned over a fire. During the Great Depression, popcorn was ubiquitous on city streets because it was an inexpensive way to stave off hunger. According to the Popcorn Institute, popcorn is high in carbohydrates and has more protein and iron than potato chips, pretzels, and soda crackers. If you made a trail of popcorn from New York City to Los Angeles, you would need more than 352,028,160 popped kernels. Who figured that out? The world's longest popcorn string measured 1,200 feet. It was created by Gary Coase, Laura Sakya, and Dave Vandenbosch at Drake Park in Michigan in 2016. Okay, I think we have like one more category for today. Ants outnumber humans 1,000,000 to 1. Their combined weight outweighs the combined weight of all humans. Ants are found on every continent except Antarctica. Ants can lift 10 to 50 times their body weight. Ants don't have ears. They hear by feeling vibrations in the ground through their feet. There are 3 kinds of ants in a colony: the queen, the female workers, and the males. Depending on the species, a colony may have 1 queen or multiple queens. Male ants' only job is to mate with the queen, and they die soon afterwards. Only a queen ant can lay eggs. During a queen's 10 to 30-year reign, she may lay millions of eggs. A queen-fertilized eggs can become females. Unfertilized eggs become males. Most females are born sterile, consigned to be workers. Ants pass through 4 life stages: egg, larvae, pupae, and adult. The tiny ant eggs are sticky, allowing them to bond together for ease of care. Young workers care for the queen and larvae, then graduate to nest duties such as engineering, digging, and sanitation. Finally, they advance to the dangerous positions of security and foraging. When foraging, ants leave a pheromone trail to show where they've been. Only 4 species engage in agriculture: humans, termites, bark beetles, and ants, but ants were the first. Leafcutter ants carefully cultivate subterranean fungus gardens by spraying their crops with self-produced antibiotics to ward off disease, then fertilizing them with their protease-laced anal secretions. Ew. Leafcutter colonies can contain as many as 2 million ants. A leafcutter colony can strip a citrus tree's leaves in less than a day. Ants engage in livestock farming. Ants domesticate and raise aphids, which they milk for honeydew. Honeydew provides important nourishment for ants, which are incapable of chewing or swallowing solids. Though blind, nomadic South American army ants fearlessly attack reptiles, birds, small mammals, and other insects, which they kill but don't eat in their path. There are over 12,000 ant species in the world. The barbarous Polyergus refusens species, or slave marker ants, raid neighboring nests to steal their young. No males of the species Mycocephorus smithii have yet been found. The queen ant reproduces asexually, so all offspring are clones of the queen. Carpenter ants build their homes, called galleries, within wood. They prefer slightly moist wood. Ants stretch when they wake up. Ants also appear to yawn in a very human manner before taking up the tasks of the day. Okay, lastly, I'm just gonna do these 11 facts about opossums because we might as well. The rat-tailed opossum is the only marsupial native to North America. Contrary to popular belief, opossums do not sleep hanging from trees by their tails. Opossums possess a whopping 50 teeth, more than any other land-dwelling North American mammal. The lowly opossum has opposable thumb-like digits on all 4 paws, and a tail that can grasp food and leave the pouch. At between 2 and 3 months, the mother carries all of them on her back for the next month or so, whenever the family leaves its den. Opossums really do play dead to trick predators. Opossums are immune to snake bites, bee stings, and other toxins. Okay, we're gonna stop there. I'm very tired if you can't tell. Like, I don't know. I really like doing those videos because I love facts and they're really interesting, but also, like, with trivia, I get to pause. I get breaks, and these just, like, I can't catch my breath. Like, I have a headache. I, like, can't see straight because I've just been reading out loud for over an hour, so they definitely make me very exhausted, but I do enjoy doing them, and I'm glad that you guys like them. So yeah, I just apologize that I get a little dyslexic the longer it goes on, because yeah, I just like can't see straight or think straight anymore. But okay, I'm realizing I have like lipstick on my teeth or something. It's because I'm wearing my retainer, so I guess I got like something on it. So I hope you couldn't tell that throughout